Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to look at some players that I think did very well in the World Cup and probably deserve a bigger move to move on from whichever clubs they are respectively at. But before we get into the video, if you would subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. So moving on, my first player on this list of players that did very well is Alexis McAllister. Can you believe a Brighton player has won the World Cup? Yep, you heard me right. A Brighton player has won the World Cup. Alexis McAllister, who does not seem Argentinian by the way, but he's declared for Argentina. He did very well in that midfield. He played extremely well. He's really done well for that Argentinian team. And he probably deserves a move away from Brighton. You know, he's a World Cup winner and Brighton's probably below him. So if he can get a move, I think it will be interesting for him. I'm not exactly sure what caliber of team he can join. Maybe he stays at Brighton. You know, Brighton have an interesting project going on. You know, they are doing pretty well, but I just think their manager might, flop in the Premier League. I know he's done well, that Zerbi guy, but I don't think that manager is. Well, I think Brighton have a team full of youngsters, and I think most of those youngsters will probably move on from Brighton in the future. So I don't think Brighton are a long-term project. I think they're going to turn more into a selling club, and a lot of those young talents that look promising will probably be sold. But Alexis McAllister he's been very good the last year, like surprisingly good, just came out of nowhere really. And I think if he can get a move away from Brighton, it'll be interesting. But my only problem is I'm not sure what caliber of team he might join. I think a top 6 club is probably too much for him, but Brighton are kind of challenging that top 6. Well, not really breaking into the top 6, but they're around that top 10 area. So he might actually stay at Brighton. But if he can get a move to top 6 club, like maybe an Arsenal or Tottenham, I think it would be very interesting for him. I think having him at Manchester United will also be very interesting. When you think about Manchester United, have a lot of players that probably should move on. You know, Donny van der Beek should probably get sold at some point because he just hasn't worked. And then also Fred is like 30 or 31 or something, and he's not really that good. So those are two players that Manchester United have to sell. So as a Manchester United fan, I would actually like to see Alexis McAllister join us. I think he would be good. You know, he would be a good backup player. You know, I really do think McAllister is a very good player and he can get into a top 6 team. Just not sure which one. But yeah, I think he deserves a move after that World Cup performance. Winning a World Cup as a Brighton player. Very interesting. Moving on. Our next player is Emiliano Martinez. Now this guy's insane. Another World Cup winner. Another Argentinian. Imagine spending 10 years on Arsenal's bench. Playing for a team like Rochdale and Oxford because Arsenal kept loaning him out because they thought it was useless. And then all of a sudden, Neil Maupay injures Bernd Leno, and you play for Arsenal. You win the FA Cup, and you get sold to Aston Villa. And then you win the World Cup as an Aston Villa player. That's literally the life story of Emiliano Martinez. Was rejected at Arsenal for so many years. Then he actually played for them, won the FA Cup, got sold to Aston Villa, and now he's pulling wonders. He's really doing well. In that Aston Villa team, he's done very well. He's been a very solid goalkeeper for Aston Villa. He is really good, and now he's won a World Cup. So there's another player that has won a World Cup that's kind of playing in a team that they shouldn't really be playing in. I think Emiliano Martinez is good enough to be at a top 6 club. The only problem is all the top 6 teams kind of have a goalkeeper that they are pretty happy with, you know, and I'm talking about the cemented top 6 teams, you know, your original top 6 teams, the traditional ones, you know, your Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, those guys. All of them have goalkeepers that they're pretty happy with, you know. I think the only opportunity there is probably someone like Tottenham. Lloris is a bit older, so if I think Lloris might actually be very close to Martinez's age. I mean, I think Martinez is 29 or 30 or around there. So Emiliano Martinez he's wasted most of his young years at Arsenal. I mean, he's kind of a very late bloomer, so he's wasted most of his younger career. He can probably push out another 10 years as a player, but I think he has to move away from Aston Villa. Like, he's too good for Aston Villa. So staying at Aston Villa is probably a career ender for him, you know. Like, most of his career was spent on the Arsenal bench playing for Rochdale and Oxford on loan. Now he's a World Cup winner. And I really do think he has to get out of Aston Villa, because otherwise he's just going to waste another 10 years of his career, the final years of his career, he's just going to waste it. So I think he definitely should get out of Aston Villa as soon as possible, join a bigger club. Maybe get out of the Premier League. You know, he's been in the Premier League his entire career, well, in England his entire career. So I think for him moving to a bigger club, maybe outside of England, is probably the ideal for him. But yeah, I really do think he deserves a move. He's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's also got some style about him. But moving on, the next player is also a goalkeeper. Now, he did not finish in the top 2, but he was 3rd. And it's Livakovic. Now, he has done very, very well for Croatia. I don't even know what team he's playing in. Like, he's not in the top 5 league. You know, he's not in the best leagues in the world. And I think he deserves to be in those. Now, Livakovic wasn't really known as a goalkeeper, really. In the Euros, he played for Croatia, but nobody really noticed him. And now this World Cup, he's pulling off wonders. You know, saving penalties left and right. And he did very well in that Croatia team that finished 3rd, which once again no one expected. He really, really helped his team to finish 3rd. So I think Livakovic is also a player that deserves a move to a bigger club or a bigger league. And I think, look, he's pretty young. He has a lot of talent left. He has a lot of time left. He has some room for improvement, but he's very, very good. And he's showing his talent finally. So I think for him to get a move won't be that surprising. I think he deserves a move. He's done very, very well. I know there's this entire stigma about, you know, don't buy World Cup players. But he's really done well. I think you can't ignore what he's done for his country. So I really do think he's one of those players that probably deserves a move. And I really do hope that he gets it. But yeah, that's my players that I think did very well at this World Cup and probably deserves a bigger move because they're at the low-end clubs. There are, of course, a lot more players that probably deserve a move, and yeah, most of them did well in the World Cup, and some of them, yeah, not so much. But most players in that World Cup that played for lower-end teams actually did quite well. You know, there was a lot of talent in that World Cup. Some of them shined through and some of them fell through. So these 3 were just a few, really, of players who did well. There are a lot more. And those will be covered in a future video, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would very much appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe. It would be really, really appreciated. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.